and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So I'm sorry I haven't posted in a little while again. I feel like my lack of posting is just getting worse and worse, and I don't even know why. So for the new year I'm going to set myself a New Year's resolution to be able to post more on here, because obviously I love making videos for you guys and I hope you all enjoy watching them. So as you can see from the title of this video, I am going to be doing a video. Sorry, I'm just looking at my phone, that's really rude of me to do that. I've actually forgotten what I'm filming. Do you ever just do that, where like you know what you're filming but then you just blank out when you start filming? Just me? Just me. Okay, cool. So the video I'm going to be doing for you guys is to things to not say to people with mental illness, basically. But I've done it with a bit of a twist. So I basically asked on my Instagram, like, for people to like get involved as well. So I've asked people on my Instagram like what people have said to them about their mental illness, which isn't true and which isn't really right for them to say. So I'm going to be answering those for you guys, because it's not right what some people say or assume about your mental illness, because most of it isn't true, and some people really do need to educate themselves when it comes to mental illness, because there's not much knowledge about mental illness, because everyone just thinks it's like you can just get over it and that's all you can do. So let's get on with the video. Okay, so the first one is, you don't seem manic. Okay, well I can't really say much about mania, because although like I do get quite manic at times, but mania normally happens with like people with like bipolar. I could be wrong, so don't quote me on that. And like I don't really know what to say about that, but people can show mania, or they can show that they're manic in different ways. So people can hide it and people can do it in different ways. Like when I'm manic, for example, like I can spend quite a lot of money, I'm quite impulsive basically. So people show it in their own ways, if that makes sense. So you can't just assume that like just because like they're showing different sides of mania doesn't mean they're not manic, if that makes sense, because everyone will show different sides of being manic. Yeah, so just people will just show it in their different ways that they're manic. So people just think that being manic is like really hyper and stuff like that, but sometimes it can be like people can show mania in different ways. But obviously I don't really know much about manic or mania, so I can't really say much about that, because obviously I don't really know much about that. The next one is, you overdiagnose yourself. By the way guys, these aren't actually targeted to me, so if you just joined this video, the things that I'm reading out were not said about me. These are what people have said to other people about their mental illnesses, which aren't true. So just in case you've just joined this video and you're thinking, whoa, what are you doing? Are you diagnosing yourself? Because I'm not diagnosing myself at all. I don't think people overdiagnose themselves. I think it's because like when like they've got symptoms to things, they just want to like Google up the symptoms and they just want to know what's actually wrong with them, because obviously like when like you have like a physical problem, you literally just want to know what's wrong with you. So what's the difference between wanting to know what's wrong with you when you have a physical illness or a mental illness? Because it's just the same thing basically. And I don't know how someone can overdiagnose themselves. Like they could have like multiple illnesses, like that's the problem. Like they could have like complex needs, for example, so they don't overdiagnose themselves. They're just trying to like work out what symptoms they've got for like different illnesses, and then they're just basically putting all their symptoms into like maybe one or two diagnoses. But that doesn't mean they're diagnosing themselves. They're just trying to narrow it down to like a few illnesses to try and make it a bit more simpler for them, so then when they see their professional they can then talk to them about that. So I don't think they're overdiagnosing themselves. They're just trying to like find out what's wrong with them basically, because wouldn't you want to know what's wrong with you if like you had like symptoms for something? Like if you had like an illness or something, if you had like stomach pain or something, you would end up Googling it, like what causes like a chest pain or something like that. You wouldn't like hide away from it, and then you would start to narrow it down to like a few problems. So like it could be like a chest infection, like pneumonia, stuff like that really. So you wouldn't like hide away from that. So you try and categorize, I can't say that word, you try and put it into a category basically of like what your illnesses could be. The next one is, if you wanted to kill yourself, you would have done it by now. I've had that one said to me actually quite a few times, and I find it so wrong to say that to someone. Like, I cannot believe like a professional or someone would say that to someone who's mentally unwell, because you're already quite vulnerable as it is, and like if you're already feeling suicidal, it just makes you feel like less validated, and it's just, I don't know, it's just, someone who's suicidal, it doesn't mean that they're going to kill themselves straight away or if they're going to do something. It just means that they just need help. But yes, people can be, if they admit that they're suicidal, it's because they're asking for help basically. Like, it's not because they want to actually kill themselves. It's just that they're trying to reach out for help, and to say that they should have already, they would have already done it by now is just absolutely ridiculous. Like, you cannot say that to someone who's mentally unwell. Like, it's shocking. It's actually disgusting. Like, I just don't understand why, if a professional says that, then they should know better for a start, because they should know what to say to people who are mentally unwell. So that's not going to help someone who's like feeling suicidal, because then it just puts more pressure on them to actually go and attempt to take their own life. So that's just so wrong, like on so many levels. And it's not that we want to kill ourselves, it's just that we have no other options. And I don't know why someone would say that to someone who's mentally unwell, because yes, like you could go into like an appointment to see like a professional and say like, oh, you're feeling suicidal, and then if that professional goes and says, well, if you feel suicidal, you would have killed yourself like already, and it's just like, it's like, how the hell can someone get help if they're just going to get answers like that from like a professional? This is why like the suicide rates are going up, because people just don't get listened to and they just don't get taken seriously. Like, that's their chance to like get help, and they're reaching out for help, but then professionals are turning it against them. The next one is, you just need to have more confidence in yourself. This is easier said than done. I've had this myself. Like, it's easier to have confidence. If you struggle with like anxiety or low self-esteem, like it's not as easy to have confidence in yourself. Like, they think that if you have more confidence, then you're going to start to feel better in yourself. But yes, it boosts your self-esteem and self-confidence, but if you are already like really low in your self-esteem, like that comment's just not going to help at all. Like, it makes you feel a bit shit about yourself, because obviously like you're trying to find the confidence in yourself, but if you can't find the confidence in yourself to do anything and you get that comment said to you, then it's just going to put you down even more. So I think that's just that comment's just so ridiculous. Like, just have more confidence in yourself. Like, it's easier said than done. Like, some things are just easier said than done, if I'm being completely honest, and that is one of them. Number 5, have an early night and you'll feel better in the morning. I've had that one said to me before. Have an early night and you'll feel better in the morning. See, the thing is, if you have like certain mental illness, like just going to bed, and when you wake up in the morning, it's not like when you have like a cold or whatever, like you go to bed and hopefully you'll feel better in the morning. Like, sometimes the cold goes away, but sometimes it doesn't. But with mental illness, like mental illness just doesn't go away after you've had a sleep, or it doesn't go away like that quickly. So that's quite patronising when people say that. Like, and then there's so much pressure that like if you wake up in the morning and you don't feel better, then you start thinking, oh my god, what have I done wrong? Like, did I not have a good sleep? Like, what am I doing wrong? Like, is there something wrong with me? Because obviously normally I'd feel better in the morning. But it's just, no. I think that's just an easy escape to like not help someone, because like if someone needs help, then the easiest answer for like a professional to say is just have an early night and and you'll sleep it off in the morning. It's like, they think that you'll sleep it off, but you won't sleep it off. Because like, yes, going to sleep like numbs the problems, but when you wake up, the problems just don't go away. So it's just a bit of like a pointless answer to like really respond with. The next one is, just eat, don't be silly. Oh, God's sake, honest to God, I've had this comment said to me again, and people with like eating disorders, like, it is so much more deeper than just being able to eat and not being able to eat. Like, just getting told to just eat and to not be silly is just, it's just not fair for that individual, because obviously like the problem is just much deeper than not being able to eat the food. Like, it's psychological. But yeah, like the problems of eating are much more deeper than that. So you can't just tell someone to just eat, because that's going to just push them away even more, because they just won't do it. And it's probably going to make them more fearful for the food that they're going to be eating, because if you're not being like supportive, and if you're not saying like nicer comments and stuff like that, and just telling them to just eat and to not be silly, then you're not really being very sympathetic, because the problem is so much more deeper than not being able to eat. So I think people need to be careful with what they say to people with like eating disorders, especially, because that doesn't just affect you mentally, it affects you physically as well. The next one is, you just want attention and you look fine. Okay, I'm going to respond to the second bit, because like I've had that said to me as well, like, you look fine. Oh God. Seriously, is there like a certain way that you have to look when like you're mentally unwell? Because yes, someone might be wearing makeup, someone might have done their hair, they might have done some self-care, but that doesn't mean that they're not struggling inside. Like, honest to God, like, people judge people by the way they look too often, and it's not good, because with mental illness, it's already hidden as it is. But when like you judge someone by their appearance, so if they've done their like makeup or if they look well, then you just assume that they're fine, but you don't know what's going on in their head. So you can't just assume that that person is doing okay mentally. So that's not good. And you just want attention. They don't want attention, they just want help. Like, maybe they do want a bit of attention because they need the help. But I think asking for help and seeking help is a good thing, because obviously if you don't ask for help, then no one can help you. So, and if they class that as you're looking for attention, then that's just not good. Like, some things people do when they're mentally ill, like, it does seem like they're doing it for attention. But when you're mentally ill, like, you don't really think about what you're doing at the time. But people don't want attention when they're mentally ill. It's just, yeah, that comment's not good. That's not good. The next one is, you are not depressed, you are just sad. Oh my God. Seriously, I can't believe people have said these to other people who are mentally ill. It's just absolutely ridiculous. Like, depression and sadness are two different things. Depression is a long-term illness, and a sadness is when like you feel just normal sadness, where you just feel a bit down for like a little while, and then like it hopefully passes after a day or two. But with depression, it's much deeper than that, unfortunately. The thing is, I can't really comment on this, because it depends. If a professional's saying that to you, then obviously they could be saying that like you're just sad, or that you're not depressed. So it depends if you've actually been diagnosed with depression, because if you've been diagnosed with depression, then you can argue that case, because obviously you're clearly not just sad, because you've been clinically diagnosed with depression, depression. So, but to be fair though, sadness and depression, like, they can be quite similar if that makes sense, because obviously like sadness is only for like a few days, but with depression it's for a long time, and it's like much deeper, and like you can get like suicidal thoughts of it. But you shouldn't really say that to someone who's like depressed, because then like they feel quite invalidated, and then they can start questioning what's wrong with them, because they'll feel like, well, what's wrong with me? If I'm not depressed, then what's wrong with me? Because obviously like you could be feeling like really low, and you could be having like suicidal thoughts, but if you're just getting told that you're not depressed and that you're just sad, then you'll be questioning what's actually wrong with you. The next one is, you are fine, everyone feels down. Okay, yes, everyone does feel down every now and then, like, that's part of being a human. But to invalidate someone like that and tell them that they're fine and that it's normal to feel down, like, yes, it is normal to feel down, but there could be different aspects of feeling down. Like, some people could be like having like depression, or some people could be having like really, really bad lows and stuff. So there's no point in telling someone that they're fine just because everyone else feels low or down. Like, it just makes them feel like they don't count, and that their problems don't matter, because obviously they're getting compared to other people that they feel sad as well or down, and that that everyone feels down, that they shouldn't feel down as well. But telling someone they're fine when they're feeling down is just not right, because like, just because other people feel down, everyone deals with things differently. And yeah, someone might feel down, but that could just be sadness. For someone else who's feeling down, they could have depression. So it's more deeper for different people, if that makes sense. The next one is, you still manage your homework, you can't be depressed. Okay, when you're depressed, like, everyone deals with things differently. So some people can do activities and some people might not. So what one person can do might not work for another person. So you can't just say that just because they're doing one thing, it doesn't mean that they're not depressed. Because that's doing homework for someone who's depressed, that could help them mentally, but for other people it might not help them. So you can't just say that just because they're doing their homework doesn't mean they're depressed, because they could be struggling in different aspects of their lives. So just because they're doing the homework, it doesn't mean that they're not struggling in other aspects of their life. So that comment's just not necessary, because you don't know what's going on in their other aspects of their life. The next one is, you don't look anxious, I've seen you talk to people. Okay, I have anxiety, and anxiety is shown in different ways. So there's different types of anxiety. I'm not going to name them because like, I could do that for a different video. But some people like might have like generalised anxiety disorder, or they could have like social anxiety or anything like that. So some people might be okay talking to people, but they might not be okay to do something else to do with anxiety. So what works for one person, like I said in the other comment, might not work for other people, basically. And yeah, sometimes like people get anxious when they talk to people, or some people might find it alright like talking to people. Like, it all depends what anxiety you have, and everyone copes with anxiety in their own way. So some people might find talking to people actually helps them. And when like you see like a therapist or a counsellor or whoever you're seeing, like, you don't have to talk to them, but you have to try and open up to that person. So that doesn't mean that you're not anxious by talking to people. So that's just a ridiculous comment, if I'm being completely honest with you. But because anxiety comes in different forms, basically. The next one is, you have OCD, but you don't wash your hands excessively. Okay, I don't have OCD, but I know a few people who have got OCD. And that comment's ridiculous. Like, I don't know much about OCD, so I can't really comment on it. But like, people do things differently. So some people might wash their hands excessively, but some people might do something else differently to another person with OCD. So everyone does things differently. Like, it's just, don't compare yourself to other people, because everyone has different symptoms and everyone does things differently when they have different illnesses. Like, some people may do the same things, but some people may do different things. So like, everyone is not the same when it comes to like having OCD or when they have different illnesses, basically, because everyone's different. Because like, everyone copes with different things differently, if that makes sense. So like, because you don't wash your hands excessively, like, it doesn't mean that you don't do something else that another patient doesn't do excessively. So it's just, people shouldn't compare like your problems to other people, because it's just not right. The next one is, you have a car, a house and a phone. Why are you unhappy? You are ungrateful. Oh my god, seriously. It's like, money and gifts cannot buy happiness. Like, these are just material things. Like, they don't cure you. Like having a car, it only buys happiness for like a little while. Like, it buys happiness for like maybe like a week or two, or like when you're in the moment, because like, it's a bit of like impulse, like a bit of like, when you get impulsive, like, you buy things and then like you feel happy for like the first few hours, and then like you just feel sad again. So like, buying material things and money doesn't buy happiness. So that comment is very wrong, because that just makes you feel really selfish as a person, and it just makes you feel like you don't appreciate what you have, but you do appreciate what you have. But sadly, material things and money, etc., doesn't buy happiness. So, and yeah, that's all I've got to say to that one. And the last comment is, you don't look anorexic. And this one really bugs me, because with eating disorders, like, people can have an eating disorder no matter what size they are. All eating disorders come in all shapes and sizes. So just because they don't look anorexic, it doesn't mean that they're not struggling mentally, because having an eating disorder isn't just about looks, it's about the mental side of it as well, because it's a mental illness. But the thing is though, like, some people, like fair enough if like you don't know much about these illnesses, or if you don't know much about like mental illnesses in general, because people might generally like, they might genuinely not know much about these illnesses. But if people do know about these illnesses and they're making these comments, like, that's just not fair. Like, they should know better, especially professionals say it to like their patients or whatever, because at the end of the day, they should be the ones who are helping us, so they should be the ones setting an example for us as patients. But yeah, anyway guys, that is it for this video. Sorry it was quite a longish video, like, I hope it turned out okay. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye!